What secret could a 78-year-old music legend still hold after conquering the world for decades? For years, Abba's Benny Andersson stood under the bright glow of global fame. Yet, behind the glitter of stardom, there were whispers, unanswered questions, and quiet truths, especially about the woman who changed everything. Now, at last, Andersson has opened up, sharing a revelation that reshapes how we understand him and Abba's legacy forever. At 78, Benny Andersson revealed a side of his life no one else had ever known. For decades, fans analyzed every lyric and melody of Abba's music, linking songs to the band's famously broken marriages. Yet, away from the headlines in the quiet of his home, a different story was unfolding. One about the woman who kept him grounded when fame threatened to swallow him whole. That woman was Mona Nerklet. She was not part of Abba, nor did she enjoy living in the spotlight. Although she worked in television, Mona chose a quieter life, far removed from the chaos that surrounded Benny. She gave him mornings without cameras, dinners without reporters, and a sense of peace that no sold-out stadium could ever provide. Benny once said that what she offered could never be found under flashing lights or inside crowded arenas. Their love was private, and her greatest strength was her quiet presence. For years, fans speculated endlessly about who inspired Abba's songs. But Benny's later compositions told a story many missed. Poems of second chances, of love that endures rather than shatters. People assumed he was still haunted by Abba's divorces. Yet, those who knew him best recognized Mona as his muse. His later music wasn't about loss anymore. It was about discovery. Instead of brokenness, there was warmth and peace. The difference was striking, and it revealed a truth the tabloids had ignored. Though the divorces had shaped Abba's media image, they did not define Benny's heart forever. Mona showed him life after heartbreak, a reminder that love could heal even where fame had left scars. Without her, Benny admitted, guilt might have consumed him. Instead, he built a future on her steady foundation, far away from the fractured past. Benny Andersson was born in Stockholm in 1946 into a family where music was woven into daily life. His father and grandfather didn't hand him toys. They gave him an accordion and taught him to play. While other boys chased games, Benny chased melodies, playing them again and again until they became second nature. He was shy, but music gave him a voice. It became the language he spoke most fluently, a way of expressing what he couldn't put into words. By the early 1960s, Benny's talent landed him in Sweden's rock scene. He joined the HEP stars, often dubbed Sweden's Beatles. The band was wildly popular, topping charts and performing for screaming crowds. Yet, even in the middle of that frenzy, Benny felt most alive not on stage, but backstage at the piano, piecing together songs long after the applause had faded. This contrast defined him. While others craved the spotlight, Benny's gift was building music that would last long after the lights dimmed. It was during this period that fate introduced him to Bernos, a fellow musician from the folk group Houtini Singers. Björn valued structure and precision, while Benny thrived on spontaneity and melody. Together, they forged one of music's most iconic partnerships, balancing precision with passion. For Benny, it was like meeting someone who spoke his secret language, music. Every great band has its unique chemistry. And for Abba, it was the voices of Agnia Feldskog and Annie Fried Lyngstad, Freda, that completed the magic. Agnia's voice was tender, emotional, filled with longing. When she sang, it was as if she poured out the listener's own unspoken feelings. Freda's voice, by contrast, was fiery and bold, carrying the strength of someone hardened by life's struggles. Together, their harmonies collided and intertwined, creating that unmistakable Abba sound. But these songs were not just art. They were lived experiences. The relationships within Abba fueled their music. Björn and Anita's marriage and Benny's with Frida were golden for a time. Yet cracks formed, and those cracks gave birth to some of their greatest songs. The Winner Takes It All wasn't just a ballad. It was Agnia's heartache poured into music. Knowing Me, Knowing You captured the unraveling of bonds within the band itself. The world danced to Abba's hits, unaware that behind the sparkle were confessions set to melody. Abba's victory at Eurovision in Brighton on April 6, 1974 with Waterloo transformed four Swedes into global icons overnight. From London to Tokyo, Benny's driving piano chords and intricate arrangements conquered the world. Yet fame carried a heavy cost. Touring, media scrutiny, and the constant demand for perfection strained both the marriages and the friendships. Audiences saw sequins, smiles, and flawless harmonies. Backstage, there were tears, exhaustion, and relationships quietly breaking apart. By 1979, Byrne and Agnia divorced. In 1981, Benny and Frida followed. Abba's unity had fractured, though they continued to perform for a time. Their later songs, One of Us, The Day Before You Came, carried an unmistakable sadness, almost like farewell notes. For Benny, the success came with guilt. He admitted later that he often put music above relationships, a choice that haunted him for years. After disbanded in 1982, Benny didn't chase more pop stardom. Instead, he poured his energy into musicals like Chess 1984 and Christina from Duvemola, revealing his depth as a composer beyond the pop charts. Later, with his Benny Andersson's orchestra, BAO, he embraced folk and dance hall music in small, intimate venues. Unlike many who cling to fame, Benny chose a quieter path. He stayed in Sweden, avoiding the lure of London or Hollywood. For decades, he declined comeback offers, determined not to turn nostalgia into profit. Then, in 2021, everything changed. Abba released Voyage, their first new album in 40 years, accompanied by the groundbreaking London hologram concerts featuring avatars. For fans, it was a dream come true. For Benny, it was closure, finishing a story that had long felt incomplete. But at 78, he also made another confession. The real anchor in his life was not Abba's legacy, but Mona Nerkelet. She had been by his side since 1981, quietly keeping him steady through every high and low. Benny Andersson's revelation was more than a love story. It was a reminder that fame is fleeting, but love endures. While fans still argue over which song was about which breakup, Benny made it clear the real muse of his later years was not heartbreak, but the quiet, unwavering love of his wife. At 78, he no longer needed to polish the past or protect the myths of stardom. Instead, he honored the truth. His greatest achievement wasn't global fame or platinum records. It was the steady love that gave him peace long after the applause had faded. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And click on the next video now for more untold journeys of the world's most iconic stars.